my little patterns, I would not know where to bend this at, and since you've got a piece that's like 115 inches long and it's all going to be one piece, you don't want to make a mistake.
Hey everyone, welcome back to CJRaceCars YouTube channel. Today we're back over here with Mullet as we're getting close to the home stretch before this thing goes to powder coat. And Danny is going to be doing all the fire lines, start to finish. We got a lot of other stuff going on. Plus, I really wanted to show you guys something that we do, I feel like, a little bit different than some people do on how we contain any fluids during a massive, potentially massive engine failure, transmission failure, or so on. The last thing you want is if the engine fails, that's bad enough as it is, but you don't want all that oil underneath your tires if you're going 200 plus miles an hour, because that just makes everything a bad day. So we want to show you that, show you the fire lines, and a few other things today. Let's get to it.
Fire line day, good day in the neighborhood. Anytime I get the chance to make those. I know in the past I've talked about bend lines where I do things and how I do it. This will be a perfect example of what I did. So this is relatively easy, it was no big deal. And it comes into this tube like at 90 degrees, but I want to run a bend here. I want to go across that line, and then this is a little test piece I bent up. It's going to go run like this, because when you're running from tube to tube, sometimes the line's up here. Well, when it's like that, before in the past what I've done was I just kind of kicked it down and then kicked it down again, but then you're over here. You want to run down this tube, and you don't want to be out here. You want to get it close to like right around this area, because when you get down here with it, it's going to take off and run this way. So what I'm going to do is it's never going to contact. If you get over here and you can see, you don't want this tube sucked up tight against that, because there's going to be a clamp. So the clamp's going to pull it away about that far. So you kind of just get an eyeball on that thing being about where you want it to be, like that. And since I've bent this one up, I have my starting point of my bend. That's where it ends. And then when I put it back in the bender, this is going to be where I start my bend and it goes down. So I take it and I line this up where I want it to be, this way. And I just put a mark on the tube right there. So that is going to be the start of this bend. Well, this tube is running, I got a line right here. Everything works off a center line when you're bending tubing usually. You don't care about this side, it's all off center. So now I know my distance from here to here. So once I make this bend and wrap it around, I can tell you where that'll be.
And Danny, when you say center line, you mean center to the actual line itself, onto the bar? So
yeah,
this is where the middle of the
when you work with tubing like this, usually everything's measured off of the center line of the tubing, because on your bender, you have different markings on the bender, and I can show you that, what I'm talking about over here. If you know where a tube is going to run, like let's say when you put it in the bender and when it wraps it around, this thing has a 9/16 radius. That means from this 0 to the center line of the tube running this way, it's going to be 9/16 of an inch from there to the center of the tube.
Okay.
Everything works off a center. I mean, if you want to go off the other side, you just got to compensate for it. But everything's, the radius is off of center. So what we'll do here, since I have this line and this line, I will go and raise this. It's kind of in my way right now, but you can see the tube, the little tube is going to be where this one will be, and it's going to run on top, and that is my ending point of my bend. So now once I make this bend, I'll mark it where the 90-degree mark is on the bender. That mark should line up with this mark. Now I just take a measurement from here to here, measure it on this tube, and that's where I start making that bend. So that's how I that's how I do it. And that way it usually comes, you know, you have a little room for flex around here and there to where it's not like you're bending a piece of 1 5/8. It's got to go into a particular spot. But finished product, I can show you what will happen here in a little while.
I still cannot believe you broke this thing for Dr. Tunemal. Oh, you got your headphones in.
No, I can hear you.
You can hear me?
Yeah.
You got headphones in.
I know, but these are my new Raycon bone conduction headphones. They're great. I just got them. Today's video is sponsored by Raycon. What's up, everyone? As you know, I spend a lot of time in the shop. While I love blasting my music, I still need to hear what's going on around me. Whether it's a tool drop or someone just trying to get my attention, I can't be completely tuned out. That's why I switched to these, Raycon's new bone conduction headphones. Let's be real, traditional headphones are great for tuning in and blocking out distractions, but sometimes you need something a little different, and that's where Raycon's bone conduction headphones come in. They use bone conduction technology, sending sound through vibrations, completely bypassing your eardrum. This means you hear your music clearly, but your ears are open to the world. I use this, and you should too. They're made for movement with an IP68 rating. They're completely waterproof and dustproof, so they can handle sweat, rain, and even a sandy height. And with 13 hours of battery life, they last all day. There are no buds, just beats, and a secure fit that won't budge. If you train hard, sweat hard, or just want audio that fits your lifestyle, Raycon's bone conduction headphones are for you. Go to buyraycon.com/CJRaceBC to get 20% off your Raycon bone conduction headphones. No buds, just beats, Raycon bone conduction. Let the sound move with you. Thanks Raycon for sponsoring today's video.
So, Danny, that pretty much means one wrong bend and you have to restart the entire line.
If I messed up, yeah. Yeah, you can mess with this stuff a little bit. If you make a little bit of a mistake, like let's say you made this bend here and the point needed to be, if you needed to have the bend a little bit farther this way, a little bit farther that way, what you can do is you can put this in the vise, take a piece of tubing that slides over this, and just straighten out that bend a little bit. It doesn't hurt nothing. Stainless is pretty flexible for that. You can pull it out a little bit farther, and then when you put it back in the bender, instead of it being here like that, let me get a better piece of tubing. That one's not going to be a good example. Let's say you made that bend, but you really needed to make the bend start like right here. So what you do is you straighten that out a little bit, you just push that back a little bit and you hold it tight and you just wrap that bend a little bit tighter. You shorten what you just did and you'll never see it in the bend. Now if you say other way, let's say you got to start back here, that's where you straighten a little bit of this out and then you do the same thing. You just kind of bend it around and you can shorten and lengthen one of these tubes about that far. It works if you make that a little bit of a misjudgment. But if you misjudge by a lot, now you've got a piece of tubing now that you'll use for these things.
Look like you're having a good time.
Oh yeah, laying out some sheet metal that'll connect the chassis to the tongue. Be fun. Let's see what I'm going to do here.
what I have to do is get from here to here. So that's what I have to get to. The line has to be down this low because you have a weight bar. It's going to have a tab here, and the weight bar is going to stick down, and it'll be so it doesn't hit the fire line because it's going to be up against the frame. You don't want it touching the tab, but you'll have it just above it. But as you can see, to get it there, it's around this is the widest part of the tube. Well, you're going below that, so now you're sucking the tube in, so this can't be straight up. It's going to have to roll like this. But now somehow I got to make this thing look good to where it comes up and gets over to here where that line is coming down. And this tube's in my way, but it's there. So you got to go around that tube. So I just got to figure out how I'm going to do this.
Hold on a minute. You need to make sure
That's what I'm going to have to do. And I got to make a pattern for that.
Danny, as far as spacing between the line and the Zeus tab there, is there any importance?
What do you mean?
Between
here,
specific space that needs to be.
You mean between like this?
Yeah. Well, obviously, it wouldn't be laying on it.
Yeah, you don't want to lay on it, but it's got to. It doesn't touch this tube. When you put a clamp around this and you tighten it down, it always pulls the line about that far away from the tube, which is to my advantage. So, but it'll be down here like this. It won't be up here. If I could put that line up here like this, it'd be so much easier to do. But it's down here. So it's going to be like this, but somehow I got to, yeah, you could take your hands and fingers and bend this around, but that looks like crap. So I like to use it making the bender. And so it'll be close to that tab, just barely above it, and about like that, but then I got to figure out the best way to meet this line coming down. Well, going to have to bend out and then kind of angle over and then bend back again and come back down. And we can run through there like this. But see if you get it to where it lines up down here. See, that line's going off that direction. It needs to go that way. And yeah, you can put a bend in it, which is probably what I'm going to wind up having to do. But it's very critical as to the angle of this bend in relation to this. It won't be just right straight in line. This will be like this, and this is going to shoot off in that direction, which means the bend is going to be like, center is going to be like off to the side. And you got to kind of figure that out. It's kind of guesswork, actually. I mean, I don't know any way to just take a measurement of some kind and do it. It's just kind of eyeballing it and take your marker, and if you think it's got to go that way, you just kind of put the marker up there and you put a mark on the tube like that. And then what I'll do is I'll take and I'll just extend that line out. Then when you put it in the bender, you know that that's going to be the inside of your bend. So you put it in the bender so that thing is kind of parallel to your bender, and you're going to make your bend. But you see it's not the same as that. It goes up and then twists over. The good thing about this versus something like this, if it's a little bit off, you can stick it in the vise and you just tweak it a little bit. And it'll move right where you want it. You can't do that with this. But it doesn't hurt a thing on this. But that's what I'm going to wind up probably having to do. And I just got to figure out the best way to do it. Because all this has to be done on this tube right here ahead of time, because I got to make all my bends from here all the way to here off of measurements. Because you can't put this line, you can't make this bend and then check it by putting the line in here, because you can see how long that line is. The car would have to be 10 feet up in the air, because this tube's going to be pointing straight down. There's a floor down there. So you can't You don't know if it fits or not until you get all this made and you put it in and you hope it fits good enough that you can tweak it here and tweak it there and make it and put it where you want it.
Is that a center line, Daniel?
Well, let's say I want to make a bend. I want to know, I like to have even number stuff if I can do it. So like I want to know, let's say I want to know the distance from the center line to this. Let's say I want it to be 2 inches. Well, I'll take and I'll measure 2 lines and I'll lay this center on one of those lines, and then wherever that line hits it, that's where I make my mark. This is a, yeah, that's not quite far enough. And it appears to be a little under 2. So I'm going to make it 2. Now, I just lay that, so I just eyeball the center of that tube. I'll do away with that line, and I'll make my mark on my tube. What I would do is, I'll show you, let's say I make this bend, and let's say I'm making a piece that I have to make another bend that goes this way or this way, but it has to be where this tube is running on 2 inches on center. What you'll do is you put your mark where you want your tube to go, and then on the bender, you have these. You have a 0, you have a 45, you have an R, and an L. The L is what we're going to do. So if you wanted to make that thing bend exactly 2 inches from center to center, you'd put this thing in there, push that all the way as far as it'll go, put it on that L. And when you bend this around, the center of this tube and the center of that tube is going to be at 2 inches. So this is going like this, and then this is going to kick down. Top of that is going to be the outside of my bend, which won't be hard to find over in the vise because it happens to be dead parallel with this upright. So what I do is I'll come over here. Since that's going to be in the car like this, I want this to go down about 45 degrees, but I want it to go down parallel with this. So it's going to bend down that way. We'll put it in like so. And I want to make that line up on the 0 where the start of the bend is. And all I got to do is go down here and eyeball this bender being flat. Pull that down until it looks like it's flat, and that's close enough. And then you just bend it down. It'll be like so. It'll bend down, and then it'll bend out and run right along that tab. So this piece is too short to do all that on, but I know what I'm going to do now. The only critical part is getting the distance from here down to here where the tube comes across. But even if you were to make that a little too long or a little too short, all I'd have to do is if you made it, let's say you bent it where you think it needs to bend, and it was hitting this and pushing this up. Well, that's not the end of the world. You could push it up a little bit and it'll work just fine. Or you take a little bit out of this bend and a little bit out of that bend, and that would suck it down. There's nothing in here that is set where it has to be a certain place. So I've got a pattern now of what I'm going to do after I make these bends. And I can make this bend. I won't make this bend yet. I'll just make this bend. That way I can put this tube back in the car and just run it right out the front of the car and make sure it fits. Once that fits, then I start bending it down here, and it runs all the way along this tube down low like that. Then when it gets here, it's got to step up again and run up this tube where it will go up here and it'll make a turn and it'll bend and come over, and then it'll turn and go out through the firewall in a bulkhead fitting. This line is going to do the fire line for the 2 fuel rails. So what you do is you put your line on your 0, and this happens to be whatever angle it is. It's not, it's kind of hard to tell, but this 0, get that out of there. That 0 is in line right there with the bend. So now when I bend it, I'll just bend till the 0 hits that. But what I'll do also is I'll take and I'll make a mark. Get rid of these marks. Too many marks, you'll make the wrong bend. But what you do now is you just transfer this line to the tube. The reason we do that is I'll show you in a second. In order to know where this bend is going to start, you put it back in the bender and you mark your 0. Now you know when you make this bend on your main tube, you know how far to measure before you start that bend. These bend lines are so important for the way I do it anyway. And you got to keep marking them because this stainless is polished and it's real smooth, and the marker likes to get wiped off with your fingers. So you don't want to lose them because they're all important. Same thing with this one. You put it in, it went 90, come around here to 90, put a mark. That's going to get our tube running straight out the front of the car. So that's the only one. I'm not worried about this one yet. I can always mark it later, but I'll go ahead and just put a mark on it that I got it here. But these 4 lines, very important. So now you come over here, put this in the car where you want it. Keeping in line, I got a mark here on this tube, or on the front side, that is the line of what the line is actually going to follow down, center line. So you line up this piece of the bend, the test piece, with that center line, because that's where the line is going to be, and then you just push it down as low as you can get it, all the while never moving it away from that line. You don't want it touching the tube necessarily, just a little bit out of it. And then you make a mark on this chassis tube at the first bend line. So that mark right here, I've got all these points where it'll bend going down. We'll make a mark here. And my marks are getting wiped off again. I mean, you want to be precise with marking these, but I mean, like, you're off less than a 1/16 of an inch. It's not really probably the end of the world. But now, see, that's where that bend line goes on that frame. A chassis tube, and that's coming right down this tube here. So now what I need to do is make another mark here. I didn't have my mark on my end of my bend. So you put this piece on those marks. Line up it pretty close with the center of that tube. Come down here. Now you make a mark on the chassis at the end of that bend. So now you know, after you bend these, take the measurement from this line to this line, transfer it to this tube, and then you know where to make the bends down here, starting them. And all you do is just, as you go, you measure, you bend this bend, you measure this distance, you make that bend, and then you'll go over here. When you're ready to do this, you'll measure this distance, make that bend. And sounds complicated, it's tedious, takes a little time, but if you don't get in a hurry and you double check things, you won't make this but one time.
I was about to say, because basically these are your rough drafts. Each cut that you've and measurement that you've made and adjustments that you've made on these lines are basically your rough drafts to transfer over to the main line.
That's exactly what it is.
Okay.
I would not know how to look at this tube and know where to make these bends without having something like this. This makes it foolproof. Otherwise, you're kind of guessing, unless you are really good at mathematical formulas for bending the tube, this diameter of tube and this radius and all that. All the time it takes to figure all that out. This is foolproof. Take this off. And now we're going to go do the real deal. And what's going to happen is, as I bend this whole tube is going to swing a long way. It can bend a little bit and flex around. It's not going to hurt nothing. Basically, just kind of keep it level with this and just walk it that way. I can stop anytime during the bend if you got to move or something.
Okay.
You got that. That. All right, just start walking with it. Keep going. Ready?
Yeah.
That's it. Now,
Go back a step.
you guys won't get it down here.
Okay.
Now what I have to do, I gotta put it back in the bin. I didn't mark my end of my line, end of my bend mark.
End of your center?
Yeah, that's where, the mark I didn't mark yet is the mark that tells me where to start my measurement for the next bend. Okay, we'll put it down here. Okay, you can just hold that there for a second. The good thing is, if you don't have this exactly this way how you want it, all you do is stick it in the vise and just twist it a little bit. It doesn't hurt anything. You're not hurting the tube at all, barely moving it, but it's all important to make it lay like you want it to lay.
The more you bend the tube, the weaker the material becomes?
Not really. Actually, this stuff here, when you bend it, it'll actually work harden it a little bit. It'll get harder. You can actually feel it. Let's say you bend one and you make a mistake on a pattern or whatever and you want to rebend it. If you straighten it back out and when you go to rebend it again, you'll pull harder. So
really?
it hardens the tube a little bit, yeah. And you know, if you bend it back and forth a couple of times, yeah, it'll crack on you, or it could be really weak there. So you don't want to do that. Okay, now we're going to walk that way again, but we're not going to go as far.
Okay.
Keep going. There. Make sure that's about right.
Based off of the draft that you made before.
This is based off of that, right. Okay, we have that. Oh, before I take it out, I need to lift up on it.
Your end line?
There we go.
Marking your end line, right?
Marking the end of it. There we go. Okay, now our next bend. I've got my bend line. I just lay it on here. We don't have to take a measurement. Just lay it on there, line it up, transfer your mark. And it happens to be almost 5/8 of an inch. That's not an even number, and it isn't because that's where it lines up best with the tube where it's bent where it's in. Okay, now I'm going to visualize this in the car again. This is going like this, this, this. Now that is going to bend down. And as you can see, it's going to bend down. So I'm always double checking to make sure I bend this thing the right way because that means it goes in the bender like this. Because I have bent tubes, and then it's like not where you wanted it to be.
And I can imagine it getting confusing quick.
Oh, you think, yeah, you double check it, double think it, because sure enough, if you sit there and you go, yeah, that's right, and you're not 100% sure maybe, you might regret it. Okay, this one is going to be a 90, so we're going to walk a little ways with it. Okay. You can go a little faster. Yeah, you can walk faster. You usually just got to overbend it a little bit and then just flex it back to get your 90. When this goes in the car, I'll be doing a little tweaking this way, a little tweaking that way to get it to lay where I want it to. But this is really, really close to what it's going to be. And now it's running down. Now
we're in the point
now
of the
we'll
car
do
where
what I
we're at the
now we'll do.
floorboard.
Huh?
Now we're in the point of the car where we're at the floorboard.
No, we're at the point of the car now to where you couldn't put it in the car without the car being way up in the air.
Because the line is facing down.
But the next bend, next couple bends, is going to make it so we can put it in the car and see what we've got. It took a while to figure all that out, but as you can see, if you've got it all figured out what you need to do, it doesn't take long to bend it up. A lot of this is think time. You're sitting there thinking about what are you going to do? Okay, now I have to go get a measure. (13 5/8) cutting the 1. Make sure you always talk to yourself or tell yourself that so you don't put it at 12 5/8, which is what it really is. And I have made this mistake before by cutting the 1 and forgetting all about it, and I put it in the car and it's is an inch shorter than what I want it to be. And you instantly go, yeah, I know what I did. All right, this one, it's going to be bent as far as that mark I put on there too. So this is in the car now. This is what I was telling you about.
Yeah.
You can't put it in the car and see if it's going to fit. Now I could hit this and just, I could squeeze it into a great big bend and do it. And I got a tubing straightener down there. I could put this thing right back in and straighten it right back out. If that's something I had to do. So now I'm visualizing this thing. It's in like this. So this mark I have up here is going to bend out this way, which means it's going in
So just to give everybody a representation, the top of that line is the top of the extinguisher, and the bottom mark.
That's going to be the inside of the bend. This is going to be the outside of the bend, so it goes in the bender like this. This is where I double check everything. That's fireball. 1, 2. It's going to kick toward the fireball. Yeah, that's right.
Speed 45.
Just hold that for a second. That's all right. I'm just going to make sure. I've done it too many times and wish I hadn't. Yeah, pretty sure that's what it is. Okay, we're not gonna go we're gonna go a little half.
45.
We're gonna go not quite 45. So just keep going. That's good right there. Now I'm going to go check it and see if I'm going to screen or no, that's right though. Yeah, that went the right way. Okay, now last bend before we see how it fits. That's that bend. Goes like so. Oh, I got it backwards. There we go. Now see, that was bent way more than that one. Line that up. Make your line, make your mark.
Oh, this is the 90 heading to the firewall.
And this is the 90 heading toward the firewall. So now after we bend this, we can put it in the car.
Yeah.
See, it didn't take long to do all that. What took a while was just deciding which way how I was gonna make the model. But if it was a simple where I had to go, I'd just take one of these that had a 90 on it, I would lay it up there and I'd see where it had to go and put my mark, and then if it was a 90 down, I'd lay it up there and put my mark. Right, you're ready to bend. All right, now this one has to bend this way, so it goes like this in the bender. And I'll make sure of that again by doing this. Yeah, see, it's gonna go that way.
Full 90.
Full 90. In a minute.
saw that off of it.
I can twist this out if I have to. It's not a big deal. Okay, let's go. Oh, gotta go underneath that. Let me move this one. Pull it. It ain't going down. Let me just take it out of there. Redo it.
Oh, does it? No, it doesn't.
Yeah, it's just, I want it on the other side of that strut. I may have to.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't tell. I can tell if it's not working right. All right, that's going to come down like so. Yeah, we're a little out of twist on a couple of things, but you can see it's going where I want it to go. Here, it'll bend down and then bend across and run right along that tube. So yeah, see, it's up in the air like this. That's because it's hitting, it's hitting the spindle. It's still got to be twisted a little bit and tweaked.
Too tight.
No.
No.
It's not that. See, that's going to be laying like this. So that means there's a little twist in this. So you just kind of do that a little bit. And this may need to just twist a little bit till you get it to fit. Main thing is it fits like I wanted it. So what I'll do now is I'll take this and I'll line this up where it needs to be, and I'll put a clamp on this. I'll center punch it, I'll drill a hole, put a cleco in that clamp, and that'll hold it in place while I'm doing all the rest of it. But every time you take it out, you pull the cleco out. But yeah, that
Now, will there be any tension on this line
what do you mean
while
tension?
we're working on it?
What do you mean tension?
So I see that there's a little bit of tension on it
Oh,
now.
I'll take that out.
Okay.
I'll take that out by you can see what it is right there. There's tension right here. So all I got to do is just put a little more bend in this. Kick it right up, go right in. And I can see where it points down. So actually, instead of putting more bend in that, this here is in a little bit of a twist. So all you do is just that. And also, you got to do a little bit of. This stuff's pretty stiff.
Still flexible.
Oh yeah, what I'm doing here is not hurting a thing. Oh, I still got to twist that up. Okay, there you go a little bit, and move that time.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a much better. But it looks like it could be I gotta put a little, yeah, a little bit more bend on that 90. Now that just falls on. And it's level.
It's
Now,
almost spot
now
on to your lines you have here.
this needs to bend back a little bit like that. So as I work with it, I'll twist it around, push it this way. Because every time you put it in the bender over there, you may not have it exactly 90 or exactly this way, so that makes it twist up like you're seeing right here. But that happens on every one. It's not a big deal. But it'd be nice if that thing could run right along the top of that tube. But it's got to go down there. Which isn't doing no bend. Oh, I got to put one bend there and one bend. I got to put two bends on. First bend will be like way back here. We'll bring it down on an angle, and then the next bend is what's critical. The distance between here and here.
Oh, okay.
And that's why I'll take a piece of tubing over there and just bend one down, bend one over, and put it up here and see what the distance is between it. And probably bend like 45 and 45 or 60 and 60, whatever looks the best. And yeah, that's that.
Yeah, you've been busy.
Closer.
See this fire line Danny teaching me how to make?
Most people, when they do a fire line that's 35 feet long, they would make it in about 8 pieces. Just put a union in the middle, or it wouldn't get as complex with the pin. But Annie is usually pretty dead set on making all the lines. Takes a little while, but makes it stand out. Luckily, they really got it.
When we started this band, our needed was a laugh. Years gone by, I say we've kicked some ass. When I make rage, you hear the stage, trying to rush it through my veins, and I say we're still kicking ass. Say, kickstart my heart, hope it never stops till the day we did all of this to right.
Danny, these lines look amazing.
Yeah, they're a process, but they turned out good.
Because we got to run tubes for a puke tank that are like 1.5 inches back to the back. So if we built the entire tank and then just the bottom two corners, just cut like a little radius at them and then just cut the entire length, then you could set it down over the puke tank tubes. Because if we have to go like through the bottom underneath them and then back up, it's just going to create a lot of issues with the sheet metal. So I'd rather not do that. It'll make the tank a little bit more difficult to make, but I think it'll all in all be nicer. Yeah,
And we've got whatever
yeah, 2 inch.
2 inch or whatever that we can cut to length and
Yeah,
weld it in and then splice it, cut it out.
yeah. So basically, we just want to keep it a little bit lower than that. So once you get that height, then like he said, just kick it forward.
I think,
That should give it flavor.
well, are we gonna put a rail here?
Real here.
Yeah, how's this, are we cutting this off?
No, we're gonna
Make
leave
it
it
better?
real. we're gonna leave this and either put the chrome or finish it differently or something. But we need this height at least.
Okay.
Because the lower we go here, the more the tub's gonna stick
Yeah.
out, the goofier it'll look. So I don't want to cut any more height off than we have to.
Yeah. So as long as he's an 1/8 inch underneath of this.
I'd go a little more because you got to figure in the cap for the fuel. You got to fill. You got to have a cap somewhere.
Yeah, but if it's up here,
It can be up out of the.
if he breaks it square here
Yep.
and then comes back down and follows
Yeah, we
that,
can do the cap up there.
the
That'd
cap
be fine.
should. I mean, the cap's gonna have to be. You're gonna have to be able to access the cap anyways. So even
Yeah.
if we just had a panel that when he pulls it out and then Zeus is on to fill it,
That's fine.
when he takes it out, we can do
I
that.
wouldn't go like all the way to the front to a point. Just make it to where it's kind of like that, where it has like a little, like when you get close enough to. Well, I guess it'll be if you go straight forward, like up here, you'll be like a few inches tall still. Then we can put the cap there. And we'll do the same kind of pin deal in the front, maybe with 3 pins and some like rubber isolators. And then in the back, we'll make it easily removable. However, that couple bolts or
Two
or
3/8
something.
bolts or something.
Because I want to make it to where we're getting these quick connect fittings for fuel feed.
Yeah.
I want to make it where when it gets there, it's
Bing, bing, boom.
out.
In the back, you want to just square it vertical.
Yes. Here. Yep, I think so. It's gonna be kind of a pain, but we need to kind of do some basic math because we need like 15 gallons, or at least 12 probably
90, but 90 to the tank or 90
to the floors.
to this.
90 to the floor. Man.
Okay.
I think that would have best.
Okay. Yeah, and then whatever that is, we can do half that size here
Right.
and there.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll do some test bend, just
Yeah.
strips so we get the profile.
Yep. Yep.
Get 2 carried away. With some baffles.
Yeah. A few back. All right.
It should, well, I don't know about this one, but usually it's just a plate up and down, and then like the bottom plate has
top and bottom.
yeah,
Like this.
and then this is covered, so it has to actually go past it and then up and back in.
Right. Andrew's done a bunch of them. If you want to ask, he's done. I think he probably did that one.
And then the bottom plates put holes in it so it can all run back, and it can be drained if it needs to be. But if it's just a square though,
Well, you know what I was just thinking too, though. We need to probably grab his old tank.
and look inside of it.
Well, so he's also going to do a brushless, I think, like cream puff, which means the fittings come out on top.
Okay.
So that may throw
Well,
that.
still, if it's in the back,
Yeah, but
I mean-
you can't run the tank downhill. I mean, I guess you could, but then yeah, I mean, I guess we could. We're just going to need room for everything to come out. You know what I mean,
okay. We'll figure it out. Because we're gonna have this area too,
yeah.
so he could break it off square if we had to, and come out so that way it sits.
I wonder if
dead.
it'd make more sense to put the tanks on the side of the tanks.
Key fuel cells.
Well, you could just run like a crossover, so when this one starts emptying, I mean, they're going to stay level, like just a number 6 or 8 across. Because that makes more sense for the hoses. You know what I mean? And then if you just did 2 square-ish, like obviously this gets cut off and capped, and if we just did 2 kind of. What do you think?
I mean, really,
I mean, either way it'll work. I guess we just need to figure out some math too and make sure there's enough room in that middle.
I mean that's 2 5-gallon buckets, bigger than 5-gallon buckets
Where?
here. Basically.
Put plenty of fuel on the sides, yeah.
Oh, we're talking about fuel cell?
Yes. We're making a secondary fuel cell that they can drive on a street with, which is a little different than most of our cars. Usually we don't have to worry about a tank for street use, but the front tank won't have enough capacity to drive it very far, and I'm sure Cletus doesn't want to have to fill this thing up every 7 miles. He'd probably get a little irritated with that. on a 1,000-mile cruise. So trying to figure out how much of a tank we can build back here. We also don't want the tank sticking out through the bed because that would look silly. So trying to make it function correctly and still look decent, because that's a big part of what we're trying to do here. Make it look like it's not all hacked up and stuff sticking out everywhere. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna get a plan. Steve's gonna make sure we got enough capacity, 12, 15 gallons at least, and then try to make the fuel tanks on the side kind of match the fuel cells, so it all kind of looks like it's supposed to be there. We didn't just get some stuff off of Craigslist and mount it in the back of this El Camino.
So like recess it here for the fill.
Yep.
But keep it same, so it's all the same.
Yeah.
Take that down so we have a fill. Use this. Worst case, we could put a sump for more that fits right here. Comes down, so fill, but just keep it within here.
So
but I don't know about
with like a sump too far on, like
I don't know about the pump.
it's gonna make the sheet metal suck a little bit, and
Underneath.
this car at some point may run wheelie bars.
Okay.
So the wheelie bars are gonna probably get somewhat close to this. So we also got to take that into consideration, which we'll have to figure
How many
out.
gallons?
Yeah, you can do a rough measurement and see what you think.
I didn't do it.
You didn't do it?
Nope.
Somebody did it. Yes, just do like that.
Around it.
I think so. I think it looks good.
Yeah, because I gotta trim it back anyways because it's
Yeah.
gonna be in the way.
Say it's a belly pan and it's a containment pan, right? Like I see a lot of people just make a flat angle to the chassis, which is okay,
Yeah.
but if this thing actually kicks something out of the side and lets a significant amount of oil out, or anything out the side of the oil pan or block, there's nothing there to keep it from going out. So this actually goes up 3 inches past the frame rail, and it can actually contain some oil, like storage you call it.
Yeah.
So you're like, whatever. It's a good distance on the side. It has some height there. So if it had some significant amount of oil come out, this would actually contain it pretty well, instead of like a flat piece that would, I guess if you kick something directly out the bottom, it would stop it for a second. But this hopefully contains it. And hopefully you never need it. Hopefully this is just there for show and look, and you don't ever need it. But if you do need it, you'll want it. But if you get oil under the tires, it's 240 miles an hour. It's not going to be ideal.
Also doubles as a skid plate on the streets. But at 040, it's not going to last long.
It's not going to skid very long before it disappears. It's going to be a disappearing plate. Yeah.
Nope.
It's only 040 aluminum, the same with the trans pans. But there's a lot of brakes. You can see it's hemmed on the top. A lot of brakes and stuff that make it very rigid. So not only is it light, but it's rigid. And that's what we want. Then I add a bunch of weight when I'm trying to make it a bulletproof plate, right?
Yeah.
Hopefully going to contain oil, basically. It's something that come out the tank or the block. That's it?
Yep.
Which hopefully doesn't happen. All right, well, Danny got the fire lines totally done, other than one nozzle in the front that we need a tab for. In the very front.
Yes.
I think other than that, but it's already bent, ready to go. It just needs to be flared.
I
cut
gotta
off.
make a couple little bends and put a tab on there.
Other than that, the fire line is done. And I don't know, did you explain to them why the fire line nozzles go where they go?
Maybe, what we have is, we'll have 2 bottles. Right now, we only have 1 bottle in the car. So the other one is in there on this side. That bottle supplies this nozzle and this nozzle, which hits the fuel rail on both sides and everything else in this area. It's gonna, you can see it's gonna shoot this way, and that way. The other one's just gonna be a big, lot
Yeah.
of stuff right there.
Yeah.
Okay, and then that bottle is dedicated to run over, and it it goes to that nozzle right there for your feet and your body. And then it tees off, goes up through the firewall, comes down. And this will bend 90 degrees down to another nozzle, which will be right here. And that sprays fuel tank, fuel pump, fuel lines, everything in this area. So one bottle has 2 nozzles for each one something different.
Yeah, and all we use here is Safecraft. They're an awesome fire system. That's what we've been using for years, and they've done really well for us. Again, like Danny said, just to touch on it, the nozzles are where they're at for a reason. This one here can kind of spray all around, but mainly if like you had an O-ring go out in an injector and fuel's squirting everywhere, you want the fire system to hit where the root of the fire is, not the flame, right? So if you have an issue with an injector, or you melt a head gasket and it's torching out the side onto a fuel line or something, that kind of covers this. And then the front goes to the fuel pump, where the fuel comes out of the fuel tank and all that stuff up front. So pretty much everything we got out here covers where the fire could be coming from. And then that one covers if somehow the fire got inside and got on the driver. It would hopefully at least put that out. It's the best you can do. Again, we run 2 bottles, so we have a 20-pound total fire suppression system instead of just a 10. If we're running a nitrous car with a 1.5 gallon fuel cell, which is all they have, we could get away with 110. But a fire system is something you don't really want to skimp on, right? Like, you don't need it, and you can save the weight by not having it. But man, if you need it, you can be happy you had it. So we usually put 20s in everything we have. Rather be safe than sorry, especially this car is going to have an 8-gallon methanol fuel cell. So we want to make sure if anything ever happens, keep Cletus safe and keep anybody safe. Put the fire system in the car. All right, that's pretty much going to do it for Mullet's belly pan, other than it needs smash rivets, which we'll show you guys in another video after we powder coat it and it's totally done. We'll do a little more explaining. As you can see, it's basically just held in with 4 Zeus's. It's got these tabs on the side. The spring will actually be in the pan itself. That way we can Zeus it from the outside in. It would be a real pain if you had to go from the inside out, put the spring on the outside. That would not be a lot of fun. It is a really deep pan, like we said. Now you can kind of see it when it's on the carts. It's pretty deep, so it could hold quite a bit of fluid, and it's up the pan. So if it knocked the hole in the side of the pan, there's a ledge there to hopefully catch it, trying to spray out the side. And now you can see also that it follows the steering shaft. So you can't just make a universal pan like this, which I wish we could make a pan that was, you know, square, that fit in between our frame rails, or rectangular, and we could sell them. But it depends on if there's dry sump pumps, alternators. There's a lot of factors. The steering shaft could change depending on if it's turbo car, blower car, etc. So it's a very time-consuming piece to make. That's probably a 8-hour job right there. The fire lines are also completely done on Mullet. That's another thing checked off the list. And the next thing we're going to be working on is all the drag and drive stuff. We're working on the 2 tanks in the back. Basically, it's going to have a tank on each side with a line going across to transfer fuel. Working on that. We're going to be working on the hitch, the tailgate, puke tank, and a bunch of other stuff to make sure that Mullet can actually make a drive. Because it's got to be able to drive a couple 100 miles a day sometimes. So that'll be on the next video. That's it for today. Thanks for watching. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. We'll see you on the next one.